So you probably would have seen today that the GB Olympic road team was announced, or road and time trial team, and you'd have seen I'm not in it, which I've known for a while. I found out just before the Giro finished, not my Giro, so about 6 days after I pulled out with being unwell. Honestly, yeah, devastated. It's been a really tough 3 or 4 weeks. Coming to terms with not going to an event or not having the opportunity to compete for a medal in something that has been my sole focus for since July of 2019, when GB kind of got in touch and went, we think you can medal in Tokyo. Yeah, so I think this vlog's important. I think it is important to talk about it because so often we celebrate the ones that go, the ones that win, the ones that are selected, and I think it's important to talk about being on the other side of that, because there's more people that don't go than do, and that's why it's the Olympics. That's why it's such an elite level sporting event, is that it is only the elite go, and only the few of them come away with a shiny piece of metal to say that you're pretty good at what you do. Which is why I think this is important, because I've been coming to terms with that, and I've been coming to terms with the fact that I'm 32. Paris, I don't know if Paris will be a go for me. If I'll be a bit on the old side. It's 3 years away, so 35, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I spent a few weeks really angry at myself, blaming myself. British cycling, the people that gave me such a huge opportunity to potentially go and supported me in going, unfortunately they also have to be the ones that tell you you're not going as well. They had an argument for me not going. I could argue till the cows come home and argue a place for me in that team, but you look at the team, the Yates brothers, Teo and G, I mean, that's as far as the Team GB hit squad goes, that's up there. I mean, that's the pinnacle of what we have in terms of talent in the UK at the moment. Yeah, back to why I think this is important is, I think in our day and age we're told so much that we can be anything or do anything if you just have to want it enough, believe in it enough, and it's tough because I don't want to sit here and tell you that that's not true, but I can sit here and tell you that you can do everything under the sun. You can believe more than anything and it still can not go your way, and that's okay. But yeah, I had to do a lot of soul searching. There was just some big disappointments. The overriding one is not being able to compete in the Olympics for my country, not being able to win a medal in the Olympics for my country. Then there was other ones, like a huge one was being the first ever haemophiliac to go to the Olympics, go to the able-bodied Olympics. Yeah, and like that not happening, I felt, I mean, a blow for me, but a blow for the haemophilia community for now. I mean, I'm confident it will happen. Without not being me, but it will happen. There will be a haemophiliac in the able-bodied Olympics. Yeah, I wanted this one to be able to say that her daddy was an Olympian, but that's okay. That's okay. We kind of thought about, like, my dad. Yeah, all right. Don't be that upset about it. Kind of thought about my dad, who's my sporting hero, like above all, and yeah, he didn't make it to F1. He wasn't world champion. He was very good, and very proud of him and idolise him for where he got to. So I'm okay. I'm okay with hopefully Juliet being proud of what I've achieved. That's kind of the feelings that I had. Thought a lot about the why. I don't think I could have done any more. I did everything that was asked of me. I put all my eggs in the GB basket. They supported me like I've never been supported by anyone, in terms of just trying to make me as fast as I possibly could. I could be, in terms of coaching, in terms of nutrition, aero, everything. We worked incredibly hard. There was a lot of trips to Manchester. There was a lot of, it's just a lot of work went in. So it's kind of that, like, and I know they ultimately, BC didn't select me, but they also gave me every opportunity to go. The process has been really, I don't know if fun's the right word, really satisfying. Like the process of finding speed and trying to go faster and get everything out of myself that I possibly can. And then the whole selection process, I'm not that privy to. It's just kind of, I think there's a bunch of people in a room and they make a decision, and there's a long list which included obviously the 4 that are going, myself, Noxie, Hugh Carthy, Luke Rowe, I think Ben Swift was on there as well, Tom Pidcock. I mean, that's the list. And I remember back, like last year, we were all in a room together in Manchester talking about the Olympics and working towards it. It was one of the most daunting things, looking around that room thinking, like, I'm a real possibility here, and there's like the who's who of British bike racing here in this room with me.
Very high caliber of...
Oh, it was a good. As far as Olympic selection goes, Team GB isn't the easiest. The one that really rattled me, and it always has rattled me, was just actually the rolling around. The time trialist has to come from the road team. If you were to put this in running, this rule, and you were to say to Usain Bolt, yes, you can do the 100 metres and the 200 metres, which is your jam, but gonna need you to line up for the 1500 as well if you want to do it, because we're just trying to cut numbers. And for me it dilutes it. Now if you look at the Italian squad, the 2 best time trialists in Italy at the moment is Edoardo Affini and Filippo Ganna, and only Ganna is going to line up for that TT because it's a mountainous road race, which is why Affini won't be going, as far as I can guess from what I've read and heard. It takes the edge off. Like, the Olympics should be the pinnacle of every... You've got, basically what I'm trying to say, there's a few time trialists that sat at home watching the Olympics that should be there, and there's a few road racers sat at home watching the Olympics that should be there, and the athlete culling measures that the IOC have implemented for road cycling do have an effect there. I'm not saying that if the road race wasn't an aspect to the time trial selection that I would definitely go, but I think my chances would have been significantly better. But it is what it is, and that's what you have to work around. I worked hard to lose weight. I did finish 22nd on GC in the Tour of Turkey, which did include a mountain top finish. I think a lot of questions people have that I'd want to sort of put to bed, because I don't want this video to come across with me disagreeing with the team that's going, because I don't. Like I said, that's a weapon of a team with the 2 Yates brothers, G and Teo. The things people will ask, so my 5th place in the world to Harrogate opened up the 2nd TT spot, but obviously that didn't necessarily mean that I take that spot, and I knew that from the start. That was just part of the process, and that performance was what really put me in the game. I think, to be 5th in the world on quite a challenging course was with very wide elbows, which we found afterwards were not fast. So that was the first one. The second one, being national champion, doesn't mean a thing when it comes to selection for national team stuff, and nor should it. It's opinion based, which can always, everyone's got one, so there's a lot of people who disagree with an opinion, but it saves the difficulties of having trials and the problems that they bring. And there's the thing with GB, you don't go to the Olympics to just ride round or just be selected. Like, you go to the Olympics because you're considered it's GB cycling, I mean, because you're considered a prospect for a medal. So you're not part of that like elite group that go to the Olympics. You're part of that elite group that could possibly win it. That's why we don't have trials, because I think there's a massive problem with people wanting to be selected where they peak for the trials, and then that is like, job done, I'm off to the Olympics, and they perform worse at the Olympics than they did in the trials. So yeah, I think just my biggest gripe actually is with the road race time trialist rule, and that's apparently in Rio a lot of riders that were down to do the road race decided there and then not to do the TT, and the IOC was scratching around trying to find riders to line up for the time trial because they only had 20 or something. And that's I don't know, it doesn't seem right in my mind, but it's the way it is. It might change in the future and we'll be thinking, damn, I wish that had been different, but that's life, isn't it? So yeah, I'll wrap the video up here. I think just, you can put everything into something and it doesn't happen, and that's also okay. Not everyone can win, and not everyone can go, and not everyone can be selected for a team, but I think the important thing is to make sure you come away knowing you couldn't have done any more, and that's where I'm at. So I'm mostly okay with it. I'll probably watch it. I think I'll watch it. I've got a few teammates in it as well, so Chanel's a Kiwi, so we're quite divided of who we're supporting, whether it's Teo and G or Paddy Bevan.
Paddy Bevan! Big fan!